Hello guys and welcome to a new episode. I just got a request after I just posted that video up for the Melbourne Bassline Vinay and the Chainsmokers, and I guess some guy linked me to a couple of songs and I heard them and the bass lines were really simple to make, so I thought maybe if he's asking for them, I'm sure many other people are wondering how to make them. So I decided to make the Will Sparks Catch bass line, and it's going to sound like this. Okay, so this is going to be a very simple sound to make. I don't know what sound catches the scale is in, but once you get the key right for this bass with the song, like the same notes they were playing, it would sound the same. But pretty much what we did is we just utilized the high pass type filter. And in order to create it, we're just going to utilize that. So if you want to download this preset and you don't want to follow the tutorial, you can download it on my Facebook page at zenworldmusic.com. I would also appreciate it if you guys could go like my Evolution of Sound page, where I have the Evolution of Sound podcast. And I have a big project with 3 other YouTubers by the names of Kasaid, FL Studio RMK, and Jesus Merchan. We're going to be creating something big with the Evolution of Sound, so I hope you guys can follow us on that as well. But the free download is going to be on Zen World Music. You can get the link from the description, or you can just type it in, facebook.com/zenworldmusic. Alright guys, so if you stuck around for the synthesis part, then we're going to get straight into it. So pretty much in oscillator A1, we have another saw wave, just like the previous tutorial. And again, we have another triangle wave. So why are these waves so popular? And the main reason they're popular is because the saw wave is really a generic wave, to be honest. It's been so overused over the years, and the reason it's widely overused is because it has a really nice feel to it. When you start lowering it down in the octaves, it has a really nice deep sound to it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put 2 voices of saw. So what that means is 2 saws are gonna be coming out of oscillator A1. We're gonna leave the retrig on. And pretty much what the retrig is going to do is it's going to return the phase back to normal. I've showed in the tutorial before about using the phase inspire, because it shows you where the phase is located. But pretty much the phase decides where the saw starts playing. So as you can see, we have a saw here. We have a really like a slope. Well, when you move the phase, you're moving where the sound starts in the slope. So it can move. If you have the phase at 180 degrees, it's going to start in the middle. While where you have it all the way up, it's going to start at the end. So the phase at the beginning of the saw is going to sound at its biggest. So when you turn the retrig on and you leave it on, when you play a note, what happens is the phase returns back to 0 and it starts over. While as if you have the retrig off, then it just keeps going. And it pretty much the sound effect that it gives you is that with the retrig on, the sound sounds a little bit more louder, more punchy. And with the retrig off, it doesn't sound enough. So whenever you're creating a Melbourne type bass, always leave the retrig on. That's my first tip. All right, so we're going to have pretty much 2 voices saw, and that's it. We're not going to touch this. We're going to increase the release a little bit to around 1 o'clock. And we're going to reduce the attack down to 0 so it can be a lot more punchier. ADSR, remember, attack, decay, sustain, and release. Attack decides, and since this is our amp envelope, attack is going to decide how fast the sound comes out. Decay is going to decide how fast it goes to the sustain level, and then the release is going to decide how long the sound sticks around after you let go of the key. So if you have a high sustain, it's going to have a little tail. So if you hear the Will Sparks type bass, it's going to have a gritty sound, but at the same time, it's going to have a little tail to go with it. So we applied a little bit of release in order to get that sound. So then we have also the A2, where we have down an octave. We have a triangle wave, which is the sign and the triangles are very notorious for being sub basses. So this is a good type of wave to use for that sub. We're going to put 4 voices, retrig is on, and pretty much we're done here. We're going to go into filter A. We're going to input select A. So pretty much what's stating is that oscillator A is going to be routed through here, through a high pass filter. So a high pass is the opposite of low pass. So a high pass is going to cover the highs first, the lows first, and then the last thing you hear is going to be the high frequencies, while the low pass is the opposite of that. So our cutoff is at 12, no resonance, and the drive is set to 9 o'clock. And what the drive is going to do is it's going to increase the volume coming out of the filter and sense your sound. We're going to put this as a 24 dB and a high pass filter. We're going to put the filter control, which is the master control, at around 11 o'clock, or a value of 59.31 hertz. The resonance at 9 o'clock. No key check. And we're going to turn the warm drive on. We're going to turn the mono legato on. Since this is a bass, we're not going to be playing more than 1 note. So mono pretty much is stating that you're only going to be able to play 1 note. And also we're going to turn the portamento up to around a value of 4. And we're going to leave this in normal mode. And pretty much what's going to happen is whenever you transition from notes, you're going to get like a sliding effect. So it's going to sound a little bit more smooth there. But since we're using this mainly for a type of Melbourne bass, and I'm sure you can probably use this as a lead as well, you're not really going to need this. All right, so we're going to go to the distortion section. We're going to put a clip, which clip distortion, my biggest tip to you guys is that a clip distortion always works well with the saw waves. So if you ever have a saw, clip distortion all the way in order to get those gritty sounds. So we're going to turn the amount all the way up and the dry and wet all the way up. We're going to go into the EQ, and we're going to put a 2-pole type EQ. Our bass is going to be up from 7.5 to 9.71 dB. So you want to turn that up. And we're going to leave the bass frequency by default there. Our EQ treble is going to be lowered to 5.57 dB, and our treble frequency is going to be lowered to 440. All right, so once we have that, we're just going to add a little bit of reverb, 25.71% for our dry and wet here. Our pre-delay is going to be set to 100 milliseconds, so it's going to take 100 milliseconds for the reverb to kick in after the sound has been played or after you have touched the key. Our size is 7.50, so the algorithm is stating the size of the room, and then our width of the reverb, how wide it's going to be. And we have our dampness at 0, and pretty much we're going to be done. All we're going to do is put mix A up all the way. And we're going to lower mix B since we're not using it. Main volume all the way up. And we have our bass. Anyways, guys, I hope this tutorial was helpful. You can find this download tomorrow on the Zen World page. And I'll see you guys next time.